To address this issue, it is crucial to first understand why someone might not value another person. In essence, when a person does not recognize the value of another, it is because they do not perceive them as a significant part of their life. They take them for granted and do not feel the respect or admiration necessary to give them real value. This disinterest and lack of appreciation arise when the other person does not feel that there is something valuable to lose. We can simplify this concept by stating that a person will value another to the extent that the latter has control over himself, that is, self-control. However, it is important to note that self-control does not mean repressing emotions or suppressing feelings. It is not about not experiencing anything or not showing what you feel, but about being fully aware of your emotions and how they influence your actions. Self-control implies recognizing your emotions and understanding how they drive you to act in a certain way. It is this understanding and self-control that eventually generates respect and admiration in others, as they demonstrate an inner strength that is worthy of appreciation. In the end, true value comes from a person's ability to manage his or her emotions and behaviors consciously. This naturally leads to greater respect and appreciation from others. When a person has self-control, he or she is able to remain calm in challenging situations, such as when facing provocations in the workplace. Instead of reacting impulsively, thinking before speaking, aware that giving into emotions could negatively affect his or her reputation. This type of self-control applies not only at work, but also in more personal emotional situations, such as when feelings of jealousy arise. It is natural to feel pain or fear at the possibility of losing someone, but the way in which those emotions are handled is what really matters. A person with self-control can choose one of two paths: either to give in to the impulse and overreact, or to approach the situation in a calm and respectful manner, seeking an explanation without losing their composure. The key is to make decisions based on awareness of emotions, rather than allowing those emotions to dictate our actions. A clear example of lack of personal control is when someone stops responding to messages, and the other person starts writing insistently, or tries to call from different numbers, when they don't receive a response. Other times, the lack of control manifests itself in behaviors such as showing up casually in places where you know the other person will be, or making an emotional fuss when you receive the news that the other person is not ready for a relationship. These behaviors reveal that the power and control in the situation is in the hands of the other person, instead of maintaining your own dignity and autonomy. Whoever acts in this way is dependent and waiting for what the other person decides. This imbalance causes the other person to lose interest, because they feel that there is nothing left to conquer. What was once exciting and attractive becomes safe and predictable, which diminishes its value. This type of situation tends to occur more frequently in relationships that have been going on for some time, as opposed to relationships that are just beginning, where the excitement and mutual interest is still fresh. Maintaining emotional control and personal dignity is essential for any relationship to remain healthy and balanced. Imagine a scenario in which a person feels threatened because their partner does not want to cut ties with a former love. This can trigger a reaction of desperation and competition which, although not always expressed openly, is clearly perceived at an unconscious level. When someone begins to compete for their partner's attention or affection, either with another person or even with a former love, they are actually diminishing their own value in their partner's eyes. This type of behavior reveals insecurity and a lack of self-confidence. Don't fall into the trap of constantly trying to prove that you are the better choice, let alone trying to outshine others in order to stand out. When someone is in a constant struggle to prove their worth, they are actually projecting an image of insecurity, rather than attraction. This behavior tends to alienate, because true confidence and self-control are the true magnets of attraction. Self-control is key to maintaining a healthy and balanced relationship. A person who has self-control does not feel the need to constantly prove their worth. This self-control manifests itself in various aspects of life. For example, someone who is self-controlled tends to take care of their physical health, staying in shape and choosing healthy foods, in appropriate portions. This is not just for appearance but because he or she values his or her well-being and understands the importance of maintaining a healthy body and mind. Furthermore, a person with self-control prioritizes his or her dreams and goals overcoming laziness and difficulties that may stand in his or her way, does not settle for less than what he or she deserves. If someone does not give him or her the respect and attention he or she feels is fair, he or she does not wait around for things to change, recognizes his or her own value, and knows when it is time to walk away, understanding that no one will value him or her if he or she does not value him or herself first. Ultimately, true respect and value come from within, when a person stands firm in his or her dignity, and does not give in to the need for external approval. Others are more likely to respect and value him or her, thus, making him or her magnetic, someone who attracts by his inner strength and his clarity about what he deserves in life. For someone who did not value you to remember you forever, the first thing you must do is break with the role you assigned yourself, in which you gave control over your life to that person. It is essential to recognize that it was you who ceded that power, by not wanting to assume the domain over yourself. This manifests itself in many ways, in different situations. But the root of the problem is always the same: the lack of control over your own life. The moment you decide to take charge, and take responsibility for what happens in your reality, is when you begin to truly exist for that person. You stop seeking their approval, and instead, you begin to live on your own terms. This change creates a stark contrast between who you were before, and who you are now. And it is precisely that contrast that makes that person remember you. Self-mastery is the key, because it is what allows you to find happiness. When you have control over yourself, you reap benefits in all aspects of your life. This control makes you shine, and when you shine, you develop a healthy relationship with yourself, which leads to happiness. With that happiness, you acquire the capacity and awareness necessary to face life's challenges and achieve your goals. Happiness is what really attracts people. When you are happy, you become someone unforgettable. It is not so much what you do or say, but the energy you emanate, the light you project by being someone in control of his or her own life. That is the true reason why you will be remembered. Because you chose to take control and live fully, leaving an indelible mark on those who once did not know how to value your presence. It is fundamental to understand that human beings act, consciously or unconsciously, in order to achieve happiness and well-being. From the simplest decisions to the most momentous, they are all motivated by the desire to be happy. When someone radiates happiness and well-being, they become a naturally attractive and magnetic person to others. Now, think about what happens when a person believes they have deeply hurt another. Maybe that person feels guilt, or their ego swells as they think they have shattered someone's heart. But this all changes radically when they discover that they were completely wrong. When that person who thought they had everything under control realizes that the one who had supposedly been hurt stands tall, happy, and stronger than ever, they experience a reality check that leaves them shocked. The impact is even greater when the person who once begged for attention, who waited anxiously for calls or messages, who put up with situations that a person with self-esteem and self-respect would never tolerate, decides to change. This change, where the person moves away from the role of victim, and becomes someone who prioritizes their own happiness, becomes an unforgettable moment for someone who once underestimated their worth. When that person realizes that not only have you survived what happened, but that you are blossoming, radiant and happy, then, the shock is inevitable. You are no longer the person who used to beg for love or attention, but someone who has found their worth and is living a fulfilling life. That contrast, that transformation, is what makes you unforgettable. This kind of change leaves a deep impression, because it shows that no matter what anyone else has thought or tried, in the end, you are the one who defines your own worth and happiness. It is at that moment, when you prove that you are so much more than that person thought you were, that you become someone impossible to forget. That's all for today. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this content, and that you found it useful. See you in the next video.